perfection.
Kelsey's behind the camera today, making sure I got it all right. Just gonna wait a few minutes before I start talking about sweet potatoes.
It's 5.
Excellent. Alright, we're gonna get this party started. I have a tortoise friend at my feet.
Oh yeah, I can see him.
There he is. Alright. Excellent. Okay, I'm talking about sweet potatoes today. I've never grown them before this year, so this is all experimental for me. I had a friend, shout out to Jamie, grow an awesome houseplant with like a raw sweet potato, and so I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then sweet potatoes have just kept coming up in some of the gardening groups I'm in, and then a couple people were like, oh yeah, they're actually really easy to grow in Southern Oregon. So this spring I bought some sweet potato slips. This is a slip, and they were pretty expensive, knowing what I know now about sweet potatoes. They were pretty spendy, and so over the course of the spring and summer I've just been experimenting with them. We put a few in our garden and some chickens ate them, and then we were able to cage the last couple ones, and now those ones are doing really well. We have a purple variety that has survived, and that's where I took these slips from. So when you plant the sweet potato, it will just create this very long vine, and then as the vine goes on, at the points where the stem connects to the leaf, it will put out roots just like a tomato plant would. So it roots really easily. It's not something that you really need like cloning gel or cloning powder or anything like that for. They just naturally root. You can put them in water, or put them in a moist soil or substrate like these. I really like these little pods. These are, I guess the like fancy brand name is Rapid Rooter, and you can get them at the Grange and things like that. Kelsey's got a close-up for us. Thanks, Kelsey. So all of these were just rooted by just clipping off the leaf, and giving it a little bit of, a good solid piece, and then sticking it in one of these root plugs, keeping it warm, keeping it moist, and then within a couple of days you'll see huge roots. So what is today's video about? Today's video is about keeping these alive through the winter. Okay, Southern Oregon is too cold to keep them outside, to my knowledge, so I want to keep them alive. Kelsey and I have been talking about getting a house plant because despite as many plants as we have, we don't really have any house plants in our room. So today I'm going to tell you guys how to do that. I have these are like 4x4, 3x4 pots. So that's how I'm going to plant those today. This is the potting soil I use. It's just a Rogue blend from the Grange. It's just like an all-purpose potting soil. So at this point you could mix in like a dry fertilizer if you wanted to. I'm not going to today. The potting soil generally has enough in it. And I'm also going to pot these again before the spring. So I'm going to fill this. I've got it about halfway full. And then I'm just going to take my plug. There are no dead leaves on this one, nothing funky. The roots all look healthy. So I'm just going to make a little indentation in my soil and then put my plug right in there. I'm going to hold it there with my finger and then just kind of sprinkle soil around until it fills it up. And then while you're doing this, you're going to want the plug to be the same level as the soil. So you want maybe just a little bit over the plug. You don't want the plug exposed. It can have like a wicking effect and let out unnecessary moisture. So you just put that in there, and that will be that one. And we need water.
Okay.
And then we're gonna repeat this a few times. If you have not seen the video that I just made, I made one about the actual process of taking the clippings and rooting them. So to get to this place is pretty simple. You can either get these from somebody, like the plug like this. I'll have them available soon. Or you can, if you have somebody, a friend with sweet potato vine or something like that, like I said, it's really easy to take cuttings from the plant. So these ones are from somebody that I saw on Facebook, and so she has a whole bed of them, and she just basically cut, you know, like a foot-long section of each vine. She had a couple different varieties, and I was able to turn you know, a handful of longer cuttings into, I think I have like 24 surviving cuttings that look just like this. So like I said, super easy to root. It's one of those things where if you have it, all of your friends can have it for like absolutely no cost. And then it produces sweet potatoes. I've been talking about the vines so much that I forget about the actual tuber, which is really delicious, and they come in a variety of colors. These ones are a purple variety, so these will produce a purple flesh as well as a like a purple skin. The core, the whole potato is purple. So that's really fun. Some of these will be like a more orange center with like a brown or reddish, typical of something you'd find in the grocery store. And then there are also some varieties in there that will have a more white core with like an orangish flesh. So there are subtle differences in taste and like sugar content, carbohydrate content, that kind of thing. Some of them are more starchy, some of them are just sweeter, that sort of thing. So I'll just finish rooting or potting these ones. So the reason I'm putting these ones in a small pot is because I actually didn't have enough soil today. I forgot to get some. But their final home before spring, what they'll live in over the winter, is going to be a pot like this. So this is a gallon pot. You could probably do, I'd say this is like the right size.
One or two?
I would probably put like 1 to 2 plants in here. They can spread really easily. So like I said though, this is gonna vine, so you're gonna have this in here, and then it's just gonna go out from there. So it takes a form, if you're familiar with house plants, it takes a form very similar to like a pothos. So you'll have a vine, and you'll have to train it through your house using thumbtacks or hooks or, you know, whatever is landlord approved. And then you'll just be able to take cuttings directly from that plant in the springtime, and you can recreate this process, or you can just put them in water and let them root there, and then plant them directly in your garden. This is a plant that you could do in a variety of situations. So you can put it in your garden if you have enough room. It will, like I said, trail and trail and trail. and you'll get tubers that way. It's also a good candidate for some level of container gardening. There are a lot of containers that people do for standard potatoes, and you could do that as well. You could put them in a trash can. I've built potato towers, and the way that those work is that you would basically just fill the container. Imagine that this is a trash can. You'd fill it with this much soil, and then you would put your slip in there, and then as it grows you would add a little bit more soil up and up and up, and the vine will grow up through the soil. You just leave a few leaves out so that they can still collect sunlight, and as that's happening they're producing tubers along the stems and things like that, and then at the end this will die back and you'll be able to dump your container out and harvest your tubers, or it just depends on the container. You can slide the layers off or whatever the situation is, but they're great for a variety of different situations, is my point there. Get this one tucked in. Okay, so these are all ready. I'll probably let these grow until they really fill out the pot, and then at that point I'll probably put one of these per container, and then we will have an awesome vining houseplant. It'll take some indirect light. We have one window in our bedroom, so we'll just let it go and flow, and then in the spring I'll probably plant this part itself as well. Oh, we have a guest, and our dog just let us know.
It's okay. Is mom? She'll be upstairs.
Yeah.
Are you freaking kidding me? No,
So we'll take cuttings from the main plant, and then we'll be good to go. Otherwise, you can just keep it alive in your house like a house plant. Just water it regularly. Keep the soil a little moist. Don't let your house get too freezing. These are more of a heat-loving plant. The season in Southern Oregon is pretty long compared to other places. If you were growing this in the southern United States, development would happen a lot faster, which is originally why I didn't even realize that you could grow them here. I just thought that they were a southern plant that our climate was not suited for, but I was happily wrong, and so yeah. We'll water these ones. Make sure, like any other house plant, that you have a dish under to water. You don't want to ruin your carpet or your lovely hardwood floors. Those are sweet potatoes, and that's how we're going to keep them alive over the summer, the winter. Another alternative way, once you get your first sweet potato harvest, and something that I'll experiment with, is you can save one of the tubers, so just one of the sweet potatoes, and then in the springtime you can put them in a dish of water, a cup of water, whatever, and those will naturally grow the shoots, the slips out of them as well, and you can just cut those right off the sweet potato. Same process, either get them to root in water or put them in some sort of growing medium and then plant into your garden. think that's everything. Check out the first video I did, and then I'm also going to write some of this information down and put it into a blog post so that folks can reference it in the future. We'll also keep you updated. We will have these slips available for people in the next, probably the next week or so. And then you can try this on your own. All right, until next time.